Welcome back to On the Clock Sports Talk. And dang, it's been a month. I'm I'm sorry to my friends for not uploading, but I've been busy. I've been busy. I've been working out, losing weight, have school. Finally got to start playing sports again, and I mean, I watch sports and I love to watch sports, but playing them is fun too. So finally coming back from my injury, um, and working out, and well, I'm just I'm just glad to be back playing because I don't know if you guys know that feeling, but being out with an injury for 5 months, not great, not the best feeling. But yeah, I'm back. I'm doing an episode, and I don't know when the next one will drop, but I know that I have a special guest there. Um, just be surprised. Um, I have a couple things to talk about. So the first things first, the Utah Jazz. We're gonna start off with them, or whatever I want to start off with. Then we're gonna talk about the Champions League for all of my football fans, soccer fans, and whatever. Um, and then there's not really a lot I can talk about. I mean, yes, there's a NCAA tournament going on, March Madness, but my team, BYU, didn't make it in. They started off so good and failed so badly, and now we're in the tournament. But it's cool. They're gonna hopefully keep on advancing. I don't know when the next game is, but we won the first one. Um, but yeah, what else is there? There's a NFL draft, but most people have no clue about it. And after like the first two rounds, I don't really know a lot of players either. Um, because I just get to know them when I watch a lot of football. The Super Bowl was fun though for everybody who didn't watch. The Rams won, which I think I predicted that they would closely win. Maybe I said that the Cincinnati's would win. I can't remember. Clip me. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I still have like all this stuff from the Super Bowl left over. Not all of it, just like a couple of sweets. And yeah, it was fun. I hope y'all were able to enjoy the Super Bowl just as well as I did. Um, but yeah, let's start talking about. Let's see, what do I want to start talking with? Okay, I'm gonna start with the Utah Jazz, cause there are only like 15, 14, 13 more games in the regular season left, and then it's off to the playoffs. The Jazz, my question is just, are the Jazz really contenders or not? I love to watch them, and I know they can be super good, and they have games where they show like all of their potential, or like at least like 80%, and they win fantastically. They play good defense. They shoot well from three, and you're like, wow, I can't wait for the playoffs because they have everything figured out. They're gonna win it. They're gonna win it all. And then the next game they play against Detroit or whatever and lose. Like Donovan has bad turnovers. Mike Conley all of the sudden can't shoot. Um, Boyan is injured and out like almost every second game. Rudy Gobert is playing good, but for whatever reason, nobody is guarding anyone anymore. except for Rudy. And I, I just don't know what to think about it. I mean, and then you have a good bench. You technically have, but Jordan Clarkson has been hot and cold the entire season. He's been getting more consistent finally again. Like, it feels like it, at least, that he's been back at it at the six man of the year role. You have Rudy Gay, who started off so well and like made every single 3 point shot, and now it's like games where he's like 2 of 3, and then there are games where he's like 1 of 5. Like, pick your poison. It's it's hard to watch because on one hand they have so much potential, and you watch them and you're like, they're gonna go deep into the playoffs at least. And then the next day you're gonna watch them, and then you're gonna think, please burn this from my memory. And it's hard. It's hard to know what they're gonna be. Um, cause cause you think like, okay, they're gonna fix it, and then for the playoffs it's gonna be ready. But now the playoffs are around the corner, and it's better, I guess. I I have a better feeling this week than I have had last week, because last week we played terribly. This week, or at least the past 2 games, have been looking good again, even without Donovan, or even without Boyan. And I know Boyan has been the most consistent shooter out of all of us, out of the entire Jazz team. So when he's back, that's gonna be he's gonna be a super valuable player for the playoffs. Same with Mike Conley. He's kind of off and on right now. I mean, we're gonna rest him for the back to back now on against New York. He's not gonna play. Donovan's out. Um, we're kind of in a tough situation where know that technically the Jazz could still move up to the second spot over the Golden State and over the Memphis Grizzlies, but I think there's a better chance of the Jazz going over Golden State than the Memphis Grizzlies, because the Grizzlies are kind of on a hot streak, and the Golden State Warriors have been losing a couple of games lately, as of late. I don't know what's going on with them, but it must have not been as pretty as ours, because we're close. So we want to kind of rest all of our players, and especially give a couple of our younger players a couple of minutes, especially when you have those playoffs, because you want to have the option to put on out anybody from the bench, and they should be able to contribute. And we have those players. We have contributors off the bench. Nikhil Alexander Walker, who we received in a trade for Joe Ingles, has been absolutely amazing for us so far. I mean, the 2-3 games he played, the one he didn't play very impeccable minutes, but the other ones he shot lights out. Juancho Hernan Gomez, or whatever his name is, who we also got. First game wasn't great. Second game was kind of meh. It was meh. He made a couple buckets, so he can contribute, I guess, but it has not been looking great. Like, I don't get why Quinn Snyder doesn't play Eric Pascal more. Why are we starting this guy that we traded for instead of the guy that we signed? The guy who has been consistently showing 40% 3-point percentage and amazing field goal percentage, efficiency, and whatever, that he can come off the bench and contribute anytime. Eric Pascal has been playing so well the entire year. He's been like the most consistent player. Like, he was always ready. He was barely ever injured, and whenever we needed him, we could rely on him. I don't get why we don't give him a couple more minutes, and especially why we don't start him when we don't have Bojan Bogdanovic there, when we don't have Rudy Gay there, when they're out. He's a powerful. He's a player that can play the 1 through 4. I mean, I don't get it. He's a versatile player. He can score, he can give you buckets, and he's an amazing defender. He's somebody who uses his body very cleverly and can defend. Then we also have people like Trent Forrest and Jared Butler, who are like super young point guards who come after Donovan and Mike Conley. And I like Trent Forrest, don't get me wrong, but I like Jared Butler just a little more, maybe because I like, um, I think it's really cool that he's playing with a heart problem or like heart condition and everything. And I'm like always for it. Like, um, it's the guy we drafted, and I don't know. I was always rooting for him, so I want to. I want him to have a couple more minutes as well, especially when we're not playing Donovan, and when we're resting Mike Conley. Play Nikhil Alexander Walker, play Trent Forrest, play Jared Butler. He's just as valuable as a player as Trent Forrest. I think Trent Forrest and Jared Butler are about on the same level. They're both super young. They both can defend like it's nothing, and they both are able to score. I think Jared Butler is a better 3 point shooter, though, because he actually shoots the threes. But inside scoring, Trent Forrest is better, but I don't know. I'm really nervous for the playoffs. So what I'm hoping is going to happen is that we're going to keep on resting our players kind of a little bit throughout. That we're able to rest Donovan, Rudy, Mike Conley, Boyan, uh, Rudy Gay, all of them for the playoffs, and give all of our young players and everybody else who can contribute a couple more minutes so they are as well ready for the playoffs as our starting bench, as our starting players. Maybe give Clarkson some rest too. He's been kind of hot for us, so very important. Um, I really don't even know what to say except for I'm hoping that we can win some games now and we can maybe move up to the 3 or 2 spot. If we don't, I'm okay with being in the 4th spot, but don't slip down to the 5th. We don't want to be in the same bracket as the Suns. I think that's more of a Western Conference Finals game if we make it there. The Suns versus the Jazz would sound amazing. But yeah. So I'm hoping for the best. We're playing against the Knicks next. We won against the Clippers, which was let's go. I mean, it can't be that hard if our bench was able to destroy their bench, then shouldn't whatever. But yeah, so those are my issues with the Jazz. Then moving on, we have the Champions League and we have Europa Pokal. Oh, Europa Pokal. um, I'm gonna start off with the Champions League because that's a more famous tournament. Um, so all of the games just happened, and the quarterfinals got drawn out. Bayern plays against I'm so tired. Not Real Betis. They play against Villarreal, which is absolutely golden for Bayern. I was actually hoping for them to get Benfica Lisbon. Would have been a little bit more easier, technically speaking, but none of the teams are easy if you really think about it, because they're all worthy of being there. Um, so Bayern has the most luck, so they're gonna keep on advancing. That's what I'm gonna say. And what I don't get is people are hating on Bayern right now, um, and saying that they're not gonna win it or they're gonna completely fail and lose it. And to all of the people, um, I don't know if you guys watched the second game leg of Bayern against Salzburg, but Bayern blew them out by 7-1. And people were surprised. People were like, "Oh, I expected like a 1-0 or 2-0 for Bayern max." And I'm like, "But that's what Bayern does. That's what they have been doing the past years." Yes, they didn't win last year the Champions League, but if you go back and look at it, they barely lost to Paris Saint-Germain while they had top players missing. They had Lewandowski, who is their absolute goal scorer of a man, injured, and they had Choupo-Moting in, and he's good. He's no Lewandowski though. And then they didn't have Gnabry, which he's just a Champions League player. If you ever go watch him, he plays so much better in the Champions League for whatever reason. And the year before that, they basically broke records by like I think it's they won game after game. I mean, they won 2 years ago. They won 8-2 against Barcelona. They won 6-0 an aggregate again, or 6, I believe, 6-0 in aggregation to Chelsea. They blew away Tottenham and all of the other teams, and they lost one bad game to Paris because their players were injured, and now they're all of a sudden not a top contender for winning anymore. Yes, Lewandowski is injured now, so that's a big problem for them. But they only have Villarreal to beat now compared to Man City. If it would have been Man City, that's a different type of caliber. That's a different argument. But when they can rest Lewandowski and not have to play against a team like Man City or Liverpool or Chelsea, that gives them such a good chance of being able to compete again the next time. Because the next time, Lewandowski is going to be back. And Lewandowski against Salzburg broke another record, the fastest hat trick in the Champions League. People are talking about, Karim Benzema scored 3 against Paris Saint-Germain and scored a hat trick. Dude did it in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. He is the player who scored 5 goals in 10 minutes against Wolfsburg. That guy is an absolute top scorer of a machine, and to say that they wouldn't have won the game a year ago against Paris Saint-Germain if they would have had him, it's absolute bogus, because they had the chances. Choupo-Moting just didn't make him. And you know who makes those ones? Who scores unconditionally? That's Robert Lewandowski. Like, I get that teams like Man City and Liverpool are good. But I mean, like, they're not even that good. Okay, so Man City is a different. Okay, we're gonna start with Liverpool. They're doing really good in their league, in the Premier League. Yes, no question about it. They're winning and winning and winning, and they have one of the greatest coaches to, in my opinion, ever exist with Jurgen Klopp. Great coach. Love him. They lost to Inter. They don't do what they should on the field in the Champions League. A year ago, they lost to Atletico Madrid 3-2. I think they're a great team, and if you beat them, that's fantastic. But I just have the problem that sometimes I just feel like there's a little bit of thing called being clutch to be good when it matters the most. And when I think about teams that can be clutch, I sometimes just don't think of Liverpool. And those are the reasons why I always think teams like Paris lose. Or I bet it on the game that Paris would lose against Real Madrid because I was like, yes, Paris is good. On paper, they're the better team, but they're not clutch. They're known for losing it. They lost to Barcelona 6-1. That's not clutch. You win 4-0. That's a safe bet to keep on advancing. But they lost 6-1. They have never won a Champions League in their life because they just never were clutch when it mattered the most. Um and that's like a problem that I have with Liverpool. When it comes to being clutch, they're inconsistent with being clutch. There are games where they're like legit clutch and score and win the game because that's what they can do. That's the quality they have. And everybody knows that they have the quality, but they just don't show it 100% because they're not always clutch. They're not always there when they need it the most. Um, so obviously Liverpool is going to advance against Benfica Lissabon, which is kind of sad because I was hoping that Atletico would play against like a team like Benfica or Villarreal. So like, because in my mind, those three teams are kind of like the little league teams compared to the other ones. That if one of them would play against each other, at least another little team could advance. So Liverpool is gonna win against Lisbon. Bayern is gonna win against Villarreal, even with the injured Lewandowski, because they're Bayern. At their end, they're clutch, and they win this, and they win the games that matter. When people are like, "Oh, but they're so inconsistent in the league," no, no, they lose a game, and then they come back and destroy the next team, because it matters for them for once. They just they're just never really there when you don't need them. You know what I mean? Like the games don't really matter 100%. So that's why I think Bayern's still gonna win the league at the end of the day because they're gonna be there when they need it the most. Um, Dortmund isn't. Dortmund is not a clutch team. That's why they lost. That's why they're out. Because whenever the team had to be there the most, they weren't. They still aren't. They're barely ever clutch, and that's where they're not gonna win the league, even though they're finally back close up to 4 points to Bayern, because they cannot consistently win games that matter. But Bayern can, and that's where they're gonna win the league. Okay. Moving on, we have the game Chelsea against Atletico Madrid, which Not gonna lie, it's gonna be a close one. Chelsea is such a good team. And Kai Havertz is amazing, and Rüdiger is amazing, and Timo Werner is amazing. You see what I did there? Nah, the entire team is really good, right? From Kante to the keeper, and I'm so tired. And Christian Pulisic, everybody is amazing, but they're having a lot of problems with sanctions and all of that, and that doesn't take away from the quality. I just don't know how that will affect the players, because right now we don't see the effects yet, but they will be worse in about a month. And Atletico Madrid has been playing better. I mean, you can't really say better, but like, how do you say that? They're not a bad team. At the end of the day, they have quality on the field. They play good football, and they might slip one past. I mean, Chelsea won against Lille, yes, but did they really beat them, or did they just win? And I don't know. I have a feeling that Atletico could slip one past Chelsea and go through, even though on paper speaking, Chelsea is better. But I will have to say that another time, in like 2 weeks when we're closer to it. Then we have the last game, which is Man City against. Oh, I'm so tired. Which team is that again? It's not Juventus. They're out. Is it? Oh, Real Madrid. I'm. Yo, I'm so broken. No, Chelsea against Real Madrid, and then okay. So forget what I said about Atletico Madrid. Um, I mean, all of those things still kind of stand. So the same thing will kind of just happen with Real Madrid and Chelsea. Real Madrid has been a better team though. So I'd say Real Madrid might slip one through because of Chelsea's problems with all the sanctions. Um, Real Madrid is a team that knows how to be clutch. That's just how it is. And yeah, I know people are like, but being clutch or a thing or something like that isn't really a thing, or like the definition of clutch is stupid and all of that. But it's it's just something that you kind of just feel or know exists, and it's there in your back of the mind that your team or that team has never been really clutch, and so that's why you never just bet on them because you don't think they're gonna be clutch. But so yeah, so Real Madrid obviously plays good football, top of their league and everything. So yeah, everything still counts. Kind of just saying and confirming that Chelsea might slip to Real Madrid even more than Chelsea would have to Atletico Madrid. Um, but Man City against Atletico Madrid is going to be an interesting fight as well. Man City can be an absolute beast if they want to. But um I can't I can't quite remember how their group went, but I just think that they can be a beast of a team if they want to, just not against some of the top teams of the Champions League. they will win it. They will not win the Champions League. They will win this game again. They will win against Atletico Madrid, but it's not going to be as much of a blowout as people expect. It's actually going to be quite a close game because Atletico Madrid just knows how to play defense and counter. Maybe it just feels like that for me, but they play good football. And when you can play football, uh, quality wise, almost as good as a top team, it just always depends on a day. But yeah, so that's about it. We're gonna keep on talking about semifinals and finals on another day, when it's closer and when the quarterfinals are over. But that's basically my quarterfinals prediction. Um, so Real Madrid's gonna advance. They're gonna play against Man City, and Bayern against Liverpool. Talking, and then the next thing we have, and then after that, I'm gonna stop talking because I'm tired and I gotta go to bed. And hopefully, this is not a bad video. Um, there's Europa Cup. I'm just gonna talk about the two German teams really quick. We have Leipzig and we have Frankfurt still in. Um, Leverkusen sadly lost to Atlanta Bergamo, which sucks because you can't really watch the games here right now because of licensing. I just cannot watch all of the games. It just doesn't always work. But I was able to watch the Frankfurt game, and I watched the highlights, obviously, of the Leverkusen game. And what I saw from the highlights is, if you can't make your 100% chances, Musa Diaby, I'm sorry, but then you kind of just deserve to be out, which sucks, but happens. So now Leipzig is going to play against Leverkusen, not Leverkusen, Atalanta Bergamo, and it's going to be so much better than Leverkusen actually, because Leipzig plays good when it matters. They're just as good of a quality team as Leverkusen, but they just are the ones who are going to actually make it. So Nkunku is just a star. He's compared to Musa Diaby. When Nkunku gets 100% chances, he's just going to make them, and that will be the difference of winning it against Atalanta. What will be really interesting, though, will be Barcelona against Frankfurt. I can't believe the two German teams got about the two hardest teams left. Sucks, but we gotta pass them now. Um, I just hope they win. I don't know. I cannot. I cannot talk about how it's gonna be or how that game is gonna go because I don't feel like Frankfurt is on the level of being able to play against Barcelona. Then yet again, you think about Barcelona and what they have been through the past year, and you think maybe, maybe they might as well. Why not? Yes, Barcelona has been playing well again lately, but anything can happen. And they barely won against Galatasaray, and I think Frankfurt on paper is a better team than Galatasaray. So we'll just have to see. Last but not least, I'm going to quickly end it with Hannover 96, my team of football. It just hurts to watch. All right. I hope you enjoy. No, I'm just say it like one or two more things. It hurts to watch because on paper they have a quality team. They just never perform as well as you know they can. They just lost to Schalke 2-1. Um, People say they should have lost 4-1, which might be true, but they had a really good first half. or so I heard. I only started watching in the 30th minute because I was shopping, and from what I saw, it was quite evenly matched. Yes, they had more chances, but what are chances if you can't make them? Musa Diaby, talking to you. Um, so and people are like, but yeah, if your goalkeeper wouldn't have held you in the game, but that's why you have a good goalkeeper. If you have a good goalkeeper, and you know you can rely on him, he is supposed to keep you in the game. That's what goalkeepers are for. And I'm sorry, but people just underestimate how good Hanover's goalkeeper actually is right now. I'd say he's like definitely under the top three goalkeepers in the league. And argue with me, sure, go ahead. But our goalkeeper won the World Cup in 2014. What did your goalkeeper do? See, um, and they're like, oh, but he didn't play. But yeah, he didn't. But German goalkeepers are a lot of quality. I can name like five on top of my off the top of my head. You start off with testing. You have Manuel Neuer. You have Kevin Trapp. You have Oliver Baumgarten. You have all these keepers. Juan Robert Sila was on their level for a while, and just because he dropped off because he didn't get to play because he went against Kaspar Schmeichel as a goalkeeper position happens, but he's back now, or at least he's playing really good again, like his former self a little. So yeah, and then I'm just glad we have Christoph Dabrowski as a coach right now because he's actually trying to change things, and he's not going. He's going with the players that play good, or at least try to, or I don't even know what to say anymore. It sucks to watch. It hurts, but it wasn't a bad loss today. Actually, I didn't feel bad about it because I felt like there was at least fight in it. There was at least the chance that we could have won. So let's just make sure next time we win. And yeah, there's nothing really else left to talk about. So I will talk about that another time. But next time, hopefully, I am on the podcast, not alone, interviewing someone. And yeah, um, I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time on the Clock Sports Talk.